Ronnie Davis, a strong advocate, has also is on this panel tonight. And let me introduce him very quickly. Ronnie, are you there?
I am, in fact.
And Ronnie, a privilege again talking to you again. And I know you are you have a stellar reputation for fighting against injustice. And after I had an opportunity to speak with you, ladies and gentlemen of America, make no mistake about it, Ronnie Davis, he's not someone to be played with by any means, but will fight the good fight. And Ronnie, I want to give you an opportunity. I know you're familiar with Kaylee's story, and I'd like to go to you, and then we're going to get to Mimi and Russell here momentarily. But Ronnie, tell us a little bit, when you hear what Kaylee is saying, you would think we were definitely in the United States of America, without question. When you hear this type of horrific abuse, and again, CPS places Kaylee's son in the care of this man that is doing what he's doing. Ronnie, what are your thoughts when you hear this type of horror, if you will?
First of all, thank you for having me on the show, and it's a pleasure to be here and speak with you two, brother, once again. When I hear things like this, it lets me know that right off the cuff, Title 18 U.S.C. 2381 is being violated blatantly, boldly, and with no discretion against anyone for any reason. When you violate your oath of office, you actually are no longer immune by any form of law at all and are punishable as a regular criminal just like anybody else under those provisions. When you take into consideration that you have unalienable rights, there are several different forms of law. There's justly, just of the soil, that's God's inalienable rights, or the earth's inalienable rights to all human beings, not necessarily Americans or citizens, just people who breathe, human beings that breathe. The next one is jus naturale, that's also of the earth and God. The next one is de jure, then de facto, from 1871. Then there is equity and record, which is admiralty and also common law. A lot of people have no idea that, first of all, the state has no legal jurisdiction to come and take any child. I strongly suggest all parents fighting the fight now challenge jurisdiction, both personal first and then subject matter, because you are your jurisdiction. Your children are under your jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is not what a lot of people think from state to state, county to county, province to province. It's not like that. When they violate an oath of office and violate your jurisdiction and take your child, this is federal child abduction under Title 18 U.S.C. 1201, felonious restraint. These last couple of years have been so horrible. I have seen so many pictures of dead children in foster care. Now, when you see bruises on a 10-year-old little boy, a lot of us have children, and they play. Children fall down, they run with the puppies. I run a farm. None of my children are hurt ever, but sometimes you fall down when you're chasing a chicken to get it in the pen. This happens. Okay, this didn't violate the child's rights in any way. It didn't hurt them in any felonious way. And these things can be misconstrued by any government official. Just on allegations, you can lose your children by a statute, code, and ordinance that is not a law. I'd like to go ahead and clear this up because I don't want to be a ball hog for tonight. I know we're limited on time, but at the same time, I would like you to understand thoroughly that citizens and Americans are two different creatures entirely, okay? Citizens have privileges, Americans have rights. Statutes, codes, and ordinances are created by the British Accreditation Registry. They hold no office, they warrant no law, there's no merit. They are a bought regime from England's actual crown, and it's come from Canaanite times to Roman times to America through the British crown. Now that we're here, they have used statutes, codes, and ordinances to take people's children without law. When I say without law, citizens, if you're a government official, any branch, if you are in the military enlisted, any branch, you are a citizen. If you are not enlisted in the United States military and you do not work for the United States government, you are not a United States citizen. You are just an American, just like me. We have rights that trump privileges. Federal law trumps all state laws. There's a state law, and then there's the law. There is a state constitution, and then the Constitution. When your rights are violated, we have to file for remedy. There's recourse and remedy. I strongly suggest everybody look this up, because you're not going to find a lot of what we talk about tonight online for a very good reason.
Ronnie, I want to pose this question to you. Maybe we're going to come back to you. Ronnie, when you hear that, see, a child that's being abused is not necessarily going to run back home. They're going to run away from home. What, Ronnie, in your opinion and your legal mind, what is the motivating factor for these CPS workers to do this to these mothers and to these children? What is driving them that's blatant, at least in your perception of things, Ronnie?
Actually, in fact, it's a vested interest. These are no longer the days of back when families couldn't have a child and couldn't conceive. You'd go to foster care, and they would pick you out a family that couldn't have a child that would live up to the standards of being a good parent and a good shepherd and guardian and teacher and protector and provider. Those days are long gone. These CPS, DCF, whatever they may be labeled in all the different acronyms, these are supposed to be child protective services. In fact, they're vested interest services, okay, because they make a capital off of each child that gets into the system. Children who are actually special needs draw a higher percentage of a vested interest per capita of children who go across that bar, that bench of that judge's gavel that day, because he is also, when he acts out of his jurisdiction, and I want a lot of people to go ahead and look that word up, jurisdiction. It's not what you think it means. When someone says, look up jurisdiction, both personal and subject matter, you are your jurisdiction, like I said earlier. When a judge acts out of his jurisdiction, he acts on his own discretion and out of his own oath of office. No judge has any right anywhere to let DCF or CPS or DHR do this to any parents, mother or father, because he doesn't have the legal right unless the child's rights have been violated by abuse, which is assault or starvation or rape, something like that. There has to be a physical violation of the rights of the child in order for the state or the government to have any legal jurisdiction at all to pick up the child. Because parents are given what's called a presumption.
Hey, sorry, Ron, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay, go ahead.
Nobody knows this.
True, and they hide this information.
None of us have been criminally charged. It's all civilly. It's all about the federal funding.
They can't charge you because it's under a statute, code, and ordinance and not a law. See, statute, codes, and ordinances are going to cite you with things that are illegal. Here's a few things that are illegal that people think are legal. Check this out. First, family court, child support, tags, license, registration. The cuss-up number on the back of that child's birth certificate is an illegal modern-day slave trade that has been going on. Your cuss-up number that is in red on the back of your birth certificate is on the NASDAQ generating revenue. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is actually a conspiracy fact that you can Google and look up. Your cuss-up number on the back gives the state, because when you sign that birth certificate, you're telling the crown, the king's magistrate, that you are giving your child to them, to the king's goods, to the king's store. When you sign a birth certificate, they tell you, you can't leave this hospital till you give that child a name. What they really mean, and easily translated, is you can't leave until we can give this child a cuss-up number, which is going to be a driver's license number, a social security card, and all the other extortion rackets to get you hemmed up into things. People's rights have been construed into privileges for so long that now they no longer know the difference of which is which, and it is literally making parents kill themselves. Okay?
Amen.
Let me give you a quick thing, a pro quo on how this works. I actually learned a little bit from one creature that told me when they start stopping people from getting their transcripts and their records, that's a red flag. When they act without jurisdiction, that's another red flag. When they act without any law whatsoever, this is high treason. Now we've crossed over into different waters, and it's an act of terrorism when you act without jurisdiction. If that parent writes up a commercial lien against the bond of a judge or judicial official and says, I so-and-so had my property or my child taken from me against my will, under duress, without my consent, by these people on this date from this address, and this violates my right and my child's right under UCC, if you want to use that, 1-308, formerly 1-207, Reservation of Rights, and also Title 18 U.S.C. 1201, felonious restraint. None of your rights can be construed and conveyed into a privilege. When they do this, it is an act of treason. Okay, these judges are going to prison very soon, not just sued. When you have a young man put in prison who has a football scholarship, and he smoked a joint of pot, and they took his scholarship, put him in jail, gave him 5 years of probation, and he commits suicide. And I hate to say this for a lot of people, but marijuana's never been against the law. It's been against the statute, code, and ordinance. Just like a license is a statute, code, and ordinance. Your tags and registrations, statutes, codes, and ordinances, they come and take your children for a statute, code, and ordinance, not a law. This is treason.
Ronnie?
Yes, real quick, I'd like to also say, just to take a clip out of things and help maybe a lot of parents, DCF is a voluntary service like all the other ones. They can be stopped at the door. I just want to make that apparent real quick. They are a voluntary service, and if you hurry up and get your phone and a witness to go ahead and record, you can stop them at the door, tell them if they come in, you'll file a commercial lien on their judge, on the boss's bond, and they'll leave you alone. And I do have contact information, in fact, and I'd like to go ahead and give that to you if you can. My number is 863-874-4655. And if my voicemail's full, just keep on calling. Your children are as important to me as my own. I mean that literally. I get 100 calls a day sometimes, and I can only answer 10 or 20. Just keep calling, and I will respond to you. Just keep on fighting this good fight, and I'll help all that I can.
Okay, and Ronnie, I'm aware that you have a pretty good record. You've been responsible for returning kids to their homes after they have been snatched by CPS as a result of your advocacy work and hard work.
God bless you.
You have seen that. Is that correct, Ronnie?
Actually, I have 8 confirmed and 44 unconfirmed. I'm finding that Facebook is hiding it. Mark Zuckerberg is working with DCF. It's a federal watch site for sleeper cells, bad guys, stuff like that. And Mark is also helping DCF and CPS. For a fact, I have recordings and proof from many people that have shown that posts don't get through, information is not relayed, people are sanctioned and stopped and are not allowed to tag. Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook is helping DCF, DHR, and CPS to take people's children.
Okay.
Just so everyone knows.
No, absolutely.
They stopped me from posting about the radio show tonight. They put a block on my Facebook where I did not tell other people about it.
Well, I'll tell you what, folks. I'll tell you what, we're not surprised in any way. When information is getting out, you'll find in the United States of America there are times that information is to be blocked. People are not wanting others to know. And last but not least, Kaylee, any contact information that you would like to leave with the people of America tonight?
Yes, I have a Facebook page. It's called Virginia Will Not Be Silenced. Come onto that page, join, post, reach out to me. If you want to call me personally, my cell phone number is 434-609-8484. I have helped many families with the courts and giving advice.
Okay.
Reach out to me.
Absolutely, Kaylee. We give a very special thanks to Mimi Lyons, Ronnie Davis, Kaylee Holt, and Russell Frisk. Thank you for your courage tonight in speaking to the issues. That is a huge problem. We appreciate you folks coming on the show tonight. Our thoughts and prayers go with you as you fight the fight and the return of your children as we continue to seek justice and bring that message of justice around the world. You folks have a good night, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having us on.
Lamont, I need to say one more thing, please.
Yes.
Yes, the CPS worker that was on my son's case for almost 3 years, I had her fired. She has a criminal record. Her husband has a criminal record. So I got a phone call this week, a voicemail. The CPS supervisor over top of the whole entire department, Bradley Wentz, with Albemarle County Department of Social Services. He left me a voicemail. He is leaving the agency this Thursday, March 31st, 2016.
Okay, and that information, we appreciate that, Kaylee. Look, sooner or later, ladies and gentlemen of America, as folks and organizations, no matter what they are, begin to be exposed of corruption, you'll find a lot of people scattering. We continue to fight for the protection of America's children. If there's any type of corruption that can harm our children, it is something that has to be taken seriously. Lisa, as a result of what we've heard tonight, and Lisa, this information is so in brief, but you find the emotions, the desperate cry for help.
Yes.
And when you're standing up against entities of this nature and this size, sometimes you feel like, man, I can't be helped. I remember seeing something on Facebook last week, to Ronnie's part, that they don't have a right to come in, and they showed up at this gentleman's house, and they were saying, we're here to check your baby. We want to see if they're healthy. He said, you're not coming in my house. Mm-hmm. And they had 2 police officers behind him, and you know what? He said, you don't know the law. He said, you can't come in my house. He said, we need to see the baby. He said, you're not seeing my daughter. And but the point I'm making is that he took a stand. Somewhere along the way, you have to draw the line.
Yeah, you have to. Every arm of government, every form of any type of law enforcement, whatever it may be, of enforcing anything in this government, they all try to overreach. They all try to go beyond what they're allowed to do. And if you don't know what they can and can't do, then you're going to end up in a situation where you're just stuck.
And who has time to fight these battles with children growing up in a very hostile world these days, Lisa and Cliff? Children are growing up with more challenges than they can even imagine. Do we need child protective services? Bending the rules of law and violating the law and the rights of children and parents, that's going to add to the problem that we have in this nation right now.
Yes,
absolutely. And,
Go ahead, Cliff.
No, I just wanted to say, to Lisa's point, that is why you have to understand and know the law yourself. Know it first and understand it. Secondly, that is why you have to, when we say it on AJC Radio time and time again, you got to understand the process as it applies to you. There's one thing to say, oh, this happened to someone, or, hey, I'm not there. It could happen to you. Someone can show up at your door. Somebody might have a vendetta against you, say, oh, well, you're abusing your kids. What will you do if somebody, Child Protective Services, shows up at your door? Be informed so that you can understand how you fight back against the system.
No, absolutely, and it couldn't be said any better than that. Ladies and gentlemen of America, we're coming back to close out uncovering the corruption of Child Protective Services. And on the horizon of this program, what you didn't know about the IRP-6 is coming up. We'll be right back. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is AJC Radio, dealing with uncovering the corruption in Child Protective Services across America. And that particular clip, Cliff, Lisa talked about the state of Texas. And I think, Cliff, we alluded to this before about judges and their acts. When right before an indictment or an investigation or some type of charges are brought before the court on a judge or a court official, we automatically get retirement fever.
Yeah, and the sickening part about that is, like, they retire and then they get to just disappear. I'm like, okay, well, how is it that because you retire, no charges can be brought against you? How does that work?
How does that relate?
Yeah, if I'm accused of swindling cash from the company I work for, embezzlement, all these things, then, well, I'm just going to quit my job. That doesn't change anything.
Well, it doesn't change the conduct. And I think the scary part about all of this, Cliff, Lisa, is it shows what we talk about all the time on this program about unequal justice. What about a crying mother at home whose kids have been taken? I think there was one story, Lisa, we had talked about earlier in regards to she had left her son outside. He was playing on the playground. And as Ronnie alluded to, kids get hurt outside.
Yes.
Kids may break an arm. They may scrape a knee.
Part of being a kid.
You're part of being a kid, and then you go in and wreak havoc on a home and on a mother's heart and a father's heart and on a brother and a sister, the siblings of these. How do, and I think Kaylee alluded to the fact that her and her daughter cry every night about that she misses her little brother or her older brother. I want my brother to come home. Someone must be held accountable for that.
Yes.
And I don't understand why we don't have federal guidelines for child protective services. We need something done.
Yes, we
do.
do.
Because with an entity that large and you don't have a checks and balances in place, what type of abuse? But ultimately, the children are the collateral damage of this travesty.
Yes, they are, most definitely.
Cliff, your closing thoughts on this program tonight. It has been troubling to me.
I mean, I just reiterate that, understand your rights. And if, someone from Child Protective Services or anybody who's, a federal employee of anywhere comes to your house saying, I want to come in your house. No, that's your sanctuary. That is your place of privacy. You have to have a search warrant to come into somebody's house. A search warrant signed by a judge to come into my house to do anything. If you want to come down and have a cup of coffee and just talk, if I don't want you in there, I don't have to let you in there. Police, FBI agent, whoever you may be, it's not happening. And you have to understand the law for yourself. Again, know it. And then understand.
No, absolutely. And we want to take time tonight. Folks, go to ajcradio.com. This program will be archived with all of our other programs, which are listed there. We want to take a few moments to thank Mimi Lyons, Ronnie Davis, Kaylee Holt, and Russell Frisk for joining us tonight on this program, and all of our listeners around the country, around America, and around the world in dealing with this topic. I think it's critically important, and we're going to get a comment. Cliff, we have a caller that wants to comment on this issue as we close this segment out.
We had a young man who had called in earlier. We had him on hold while we had the panel up. And now, Randy, you are live. You had a comment about tonight's show.
You keep bringing up the federal rules and that. And I want to make sure people know this is being paid for by Title 4E of the Social Security Act. They're taking your Social Security money. It's not people are getting older. They're taking your Social Security money and they're paying 75% and 50% of administration fees out of your Social Security to train the social workers to act exactly like they're acting.
Wow. Randy, thank you for that comment. How troubling is that, Lisa, when you hear that? We have a problem in this country.
Oh, I believe it, and I believe what he's saying. That they're setting up that way intentionally. There's so much that is messed up and corrupt in this state, in this country. It doesn't even make sense. You could never cover it. You could never hit every aspect of it if you talked every day of your life for the rest of your life. There's so much corruption. There's so many things that are messed up that needs to be fixed. It doesn't even make sense.
Well, look, we got a problem in this country. Randy, thanks for your call. We appreciate your comment and knowledge on this situation. And I'll tell you right now, we appreciate all of the folks tonight that have joined into this discussion. Lisa, I'm sure we'll have many more of these. And now it's like you see so much corruption in one level of government, and you say, well, surely it can't be that bad over here. Well, guess what? It's sometime worse. It's sometime worse. So, ladies and gentlemen, definitely take this situation, this issue to heart as we try to protect the children of America. It's critically important. We want to give you the opportunity, folks, to go to ajcradio.com and listen to this program and all the programs that we have. Coming up Thursday, Spotlight on Capitol Hill. Lisa, we have a humdinger with that one.
Yes, we
do. But we're not going to let that one out the bag right now. But, folks, join us Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we shine the light on another member of Congress that's making a difference in our nation. Also, we want to definitely talk about, Lisa Just Cause presents Let's Talk, a opportunity for bring communities together as we bring guests from all over the United States, those who are making an impact, and that is not to exclude, Lisa, the members of Congress, that we're going to see some big things happen this year with Let's Talk. Your thoughts on that one?
I think it's just gonna get better and better. The people we've been talking to, the people who are showing interest in wanting to come and be a part of it. I mean, it's growing far beyond what we ever could have thought it would be, and I think it's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. And folks, definitely follow us on Facebook. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. And folks, go to change.org, sign the petition, search IRP6, and let's get these guys home to their families as we search for justice in an unjust situation with the IRP6. Who are they? David Banks, Dave Zappolo, Demetrius Harper, Kendrick Barnes, Clinton Stewart, and Gary Walker. Cliff?
Yes, I want to say thank you to all of our guests tonight. We appreciate you taking time out of your evening to spend a little bit of it with us. Also want to say thank you to everyone in the chat room, everybody who called in to make comments. We appreciate that. Also want to say thank you to our production team, Captain Kyle and Dustin Jackson of K&D Productions, helping out Ill Skiller's girl in the control room to make sure you guys hear what we have to say. Also to our production support team, they give us accurate and up-to-date information so we can pass that on to you. And to the truth, we know you're out there. We appreciate it.
And thank you for that, Cliff. And ladies and gentlemen of America, never forget that as we search for justice, that injustice can affect you. It can visit your front door, and it is important that we all join in the fight as we seek for answers of every injustice that plagues this nation. I'm Lamont Banks along with Lisa Stewart, Cliff Stewart, and tonight, uncovering Child Protective Services and the corruption that lies within. America, we have a lot of work to do. Let's join together and get it done. Good night, America. We'll see you next time.